Hey, Tampa Bay, we're with you for another week here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show, like we are every Sunday at 10 a.m., talking about Tampa Bay real estate like I have for more than a decade here on WFLA News, your trusted news station, and always dropping the knowledge on Sundays about what's going on in our real estate market. When we aren't on air, please make sure to follow us at The Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, pretty much everywhere out there. Follow us at The Duncan Duo to get your real estate updates and learn about everything going on in Tampa Bay real estate at The Duncan Duo. I talked about my predictions for the real estate market this year in the last show, but because it was kind of the first weekend of the new year, people were still kind of in vacation mode. So I want to touch on that a little bit again, kind of what I expect to see in 2025. First and foremost, I am expecting a better real estate year in 2025 in Tampa Bay than we had in 2024. First and foremost, I believe that the end of 2024, and look, it's no secret that our real estate market got hammered by a couple of really bad storms. It caused home sales to cancel. It caused people to delay their plans. It caused buyers not to buy. It caused sellers not to sell, and it obviously wreaked havoc on our area for months. Still, lots of friends and family displaced, still dealing with the consequences of those storms. So that obviously hurt home sales in the fourth quarter and caused our fourth quarter to be the worst quarter in terms of total home sales that we've seen in a really long time in Tampa Bay. It's also caused prices to depress. So our prices last year at the end of the year dropped, and that trend is expected to continue. So we are going to see home values in Tampa Bay come down a little bit. But I believe the reason that it's going to be a better real estate year is because I think the second half of the year, there is a prospect of home values going back on the rise, number one, and then maybe some minor, small interest rate cuts that will help improve affordability a little bit. And then hopefully, God willing, we don't have the storm impact that we had last year. And I think statistically, considering last year was unprecedented, I'm pretty hopeful that next year won't have the same kind of impact from hurricanes that 2024 had. So all in all, I believe 25 will be a better real estate year. I believe that we'll see some continued depreciation for the next several months. I think that will stabilize and hopefully start to swing back in the other direction by the end of 2025. And home sellers that are out there thinking about selling, you have to understand that the market has changed dramatically. There are a lot of home sellers still thinking that we're in 2023 times and before, where we would see prices rising and that you could price your home better than or equal to a home that sold a few months ago in your neighborhood. That just isn't the case anymore. If you look at home values, we've gone in Tampa Bay from an average sale price of $507,000 down now to $465,000. That is about an 8% drop in our average sale price. So across the market, now again, does that mean every single neighborhood had this happen? No. But across the market, we've seen values drop on average 8%. So your $400,000 house, maybe worth $368,000 now. So because of that, that will get some buyers back engaged. Prices drop a little bit. It makes it a little bit more affordable. That will fuel kind of some energy. A few more months of storm recovery, some of our buyer demand and people relocating here will come back. And I believe that a lot of the storm stuff and cleanouts and distressed sales that will be caused by the hurricanes, hopefully there's enough of that cleaning out by the middle of the year that the second half of the year is even more promising. So that's my predictions, for what I expect to happen in 2025. But there's a lot that could change that. Certainly storms, certainly unprecedented weather events, unprecedented, any kind of conflict or wars or anything like that could contribute. But in my experience, after doing this for 20 years, assuming none of those other unprecedented events, 2025 will produce more home sales than 2024. And I think we'll end 2025 with an average sale price that's comparable to where it was at points this year. It'll drop some and then it's going to come back up is my expectation. So again, hopefully that helps you understand what's going on. And I want to talk next to condo owners. And so if you're a condo owner and you're thinking about selling your property, the Tampa Bay market, and I've talked about this for months, is really kind of separated into two markets. You have condos, and then you have everything else. And so a lot of the things that I talk about in the marketplace, because condos are a small percentage of the overall total sales across the entire Tampa Bay area, in the condo market, a lot of the things I'm talking about are actually worse. So, I want to talk about the why behind that, but I also want to tell people that if you don't have to sell a condo right now, if you own a condo and you're like, I could sell it now, or maybe I could sell it in 3 or 4 years, I would tell you, don't sell it now, truthfully. This is not the opportune time to sell condos. The inventory, month supply of inventory on condos in Tampa Bay is near the same month supply inventory. In other words, the supply-demand curve, the demand, is comparable to what it was for real estate during the Great Recession. We have a massive amount of condo inventory. In some zip codes and areas, 15 plus months. It ranges from 10 to 15 months, depending on the part of Tampa Bay that we're talking about. A whole variety of factors contribute to this, but I'll kind of summarize them. But first, I'll tell condo owners, if you don't have to sell, don't. If you do have to sell, or you'd sell, but you don't really have to, or you'd sell, but you only sell if you get to this number, you're only selling if you can make a profit, don't sell, because you ain't going to make it, okay? I'm being brutally honest with you because it's the truth. Right now, the condo market is very challenging. You've got rising insurance. You've got rising HOA fees because of all of the milestone surveys that have to be completed. And then you have the storms that caused the condos, which a lot of people have as second and third homes. A lot of those were damaged, and now those owners don't want to come back to them. And then that market specifically, because it is a vacation market, the demand is zapped because the storms and the news reporting behind them in our market. So the condo market is really challenging right now. So again, if you don't have to sell, don't. If you do have to sell, be prepared to be aggressive with your price and aggressive with your condition. We are literally having condo owners call us and say, "I want you to sell my home, and here's my terms." And we're saying no. We're saying we can't do that. That's not realistic. That's fantasy land. That would take a lightning strike or a miracle. It's just not possible. So if you're coming, to the market and you have a condo, you better be the best priced condo in your building, and or very close to that, and or very close to best conditioned. We're seeing some condo buildings with 15, 20 units and 1 unit selling a month. To be that next one that sells when prices are dropping, you've got to be ahead of the downward trend. You've got to be so aggressive that you will just move the market and that you'll be the next one that the buyers pick. So if your condition of your condo is, if it's outdated, you better improve it. You better do the upgrades. And if you don't have the upgrades, you better price it super aggressive so that somebody can afford to do the upgrades after they buy. Because the number of buyers for condos right now has shrunk dramatically. There just isn't there is not a successful market for that. And that is going to be a market, when you separate out the condos, that's going to be a market that's going to take longer to correct. That segment of our market, that small portion of our home sales, it's going to take longer to correct and get prices back moving in a positive direction because of the HOA fee increases, the assessments from all the extra milestone surveys and inspections that have to be done in these condo communities, the increase in insurance, which we know is going to be even more extravagant after these storms because the insurance companies haven't even had a chance to address the rates yet. They're too busy paying out people's claims. So all of those reasons, people are getting ahead of that, and so many condo owners are selling, and it's flooding the market with inventory. There's just way more people wanting to sell their condo than there are buyers that are wanting to take on that risk and buy them. And the buyers that do want to take on that risk and buy them, they look at it and they completely understand. They can do math. They can look up and see how many are on the market. They know the only way they're buying is if they get a deal. So the condo market really tough. Now, where that isn't as applicable, okay? So if you're talking about brand new high rises, and I'm talking brand new, like really contemporary, modern buildings, multi-million-dollar condos, those it's not hitting as hard because a lot of those buildings, the attraction and the wealth and the people that buy those, they're not impacted by this. Condos under $1 million, much more relevant for everything I've just talked about. But the newer modern buildings built the last couple of years, those were built to higher standards. Those HOA fees aren't likely to rise as much. And then that audience, truthfully, because they want to live here or they want to buy in that new, sexy, sleek building, that segment of the market isn't being hit as hard. There's still some of those selling. And there are people in that segment of the marketplace that will pay a premium for condition or location within a building because they have the money. They're not worried about affordability. Anyone buying a condo and worried about affordability, if that's a consumer sentiment in that particular price point, that market is crushed. That market is in a really rough place. The higher end, the uber luxury condos, those are going to continue to do well as more, wealthy people look at those options and say, hey, I'm okay buying that. So that's in essence what we see, the kind of duality of single family homes versus condos going on in the real estate market, and kind of a statistical update for what I expect to see in 2025. And again, when we aren't on there, at the Duncan Duo. And if you want to know what exactly is going on with your condo or with your home, whether you want to know the value, you want to know, are there foreclosures coming in your neighborhood? You want to know if the neighbor's house is a short sale? Do you want to know your value? Do you want to get a cash offer? Any of those things, DuncanDuo.com. Just type in your address. It's a quick, simple form fill out. You type in your address. We'll reach out to you. We'll let you know about your options, and you'll continue to get updated on everything going on in your neighborhood so you can stay up to date on the most valuable or the most accurate home evaluation tool in Tampa Bay at DuncanDuo.com. We'll be back. We're going to continue this conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market like we do every Sunday at 10. Look, the storms had a massive impact in our area, but you know what they didn't have a massive impact on? Our listing at 12512 Brick Cobblestone Drive in Riverview in Talavera, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, oversized garage. It's a 3-car garage, beautiful property, 2,800 square feet. Built in 2021, so higher construction standards, multi-generational home, modern living, all for $535,000. Expansive kitchen, large island, elegant white shaker cabinets, stainless steel appliances, so much more make this a kitchen perfect for the chef and your family. Spacious laundry room, hurricane shutters, and this home, again, had no impact from the recent hurricanes. You can find out more about it, see all the pictures in the video at theduncanduo.com. Again, that is 12512 Brick Cobblestone Drive in Riverview, listed for $535,000. And if you want to get your home featured on our show, the only homes we feature on our show are our listings. So if you're a realtor listening, sorry, can't help you. If you're a homeowner and your home is listed with somebody else, sorry, we can't help you. But if you want to get your home mentioned on our show to an exclusive audience, people that listen to 970, you can hit us up at DuncanDuo.com, and we would love the opportunity to feature your home just like this one. Just let us know. Let my representative, when they reach out to you to talk to you about your home, let them know you want your home to be featured on the radio show, and we will make sure to do that for you right here like we do every single week. So another thing that I want to get to, again, in the first segment, I talked about the statistics and kind of things that are happening in in the marketplace. But I want to talk about credit scores a little bit. There are a lot of people out there that don't really check their credit, don't kind of understand how important it is to buying a home unless they have cash. And so I want to make sure everyone out there is checking their credit. That you can get, there's free services, there's Experian, there's different places where you can get multiple profiles. However, if you're not paying attention to it, and again, the important part is paying your bills on time, paying all of your bills. But if you're not paying attention, sometimes things can show up that aren't accurate. There's ways to fight things. There's ways to issue disputes. There are ways that mortgage lenders can also get things corrected. And even corrected in a rapid rescore where they can simply go to the bank and submit the documents and then get how the credit would be impacted by that taken off, even if it's not yet affected in the credit profile. But the key is far too many people decide, okay, I'm going to go out and look for a home and I'm going to find my home. And then I'm going to go get qualified for a mortgage. And frankly, that is completely backwards. I cannot tell you how many people have made disastrous financial decisions, found out that the home of their dreams they can't buy, found out they can qualify for less, or found out they can qualify for more, or found out simply that they need to do some other things with their taxes simply by not getting with a mortgage lender sooner. If you're thinking about buying a home in 2025, okay, if you're thinking about it, look at your credit, know what your score is, have an understanding of it. If your credit score isn't accurate and you still want to buy and there's some problems with it, talk to our lenders. You can reach out to our team. We'll put you in touch with the best people, 813-359-8990. Call or text us. We will put you in touch with great lenders that can look at the situation and determine what you need to do to correct it. Now, sometimes it's paying off a small credit card. Sometimes it's moving money from a bank account to pay off a car. Sometimes it's as simple as, disputing a late pay and getting it removed, or, a medical collection that isn't accurate. There's so many things you can do with your credit, and way too many people are unprepared, and they get to the point of being ready to buy a house, and then they find out that they can't, or they can't qualify because of an issue with their credit that they seem to be befuddled by. I literally, sometimes I find it humorous when I hear some of the stories from my agents, and they're like, they were just dumbfounded that they had a 480 credit score. They couldn't believe it. If you were going to buy a home in 2025, look at your credit before someone else does. Look at your credit to determine if it's accurate before you get, run over by a truck by a mortgage lender telling you got all these crazy things wrong. People will literally say, I don't want to check my credit because I heard it hurts my score. It might hurt your score for like 3 points at best. But if you don't check it, you could be hurting your score hundreds of points. Hundreds of points could be wrong. So yes, multiple credit inquiries in a period of time can very infinitesimally reduce your credit score. However, not looking at it will reduce your credit score a lot worse because you don't know what's going on, and there could be things in there that are inaccurate, that are wrong, or that you need to make adjustments with. So please stay on top of your credit. Look at it, especially if you're buying a home in 2025. Know what's going on with your credit profile. Be prepared. And hopefully that helps some people out there that, hopefully we can get to a point where less and less I hear from my agents. I sat down with somebody and we got them with our lender and found out that their score's 480, and they just couldn't even believe that their score was 480. They didn't understand that they'd had 17 past due bills that they hadn't paid. So check your credit, get it corrected, pay your bills on time, and you got a much better chance of having a great credit score. So we're going to be back after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. And one thing that, Andrew Duncan here at the Duncan Duo, duncanduo.com for a quick home value estimate. I always find it interesting when we have these, kind of major events in our market in terms of how it impacts people. And I've been talking to people a lot, and I have a lot of friends that like me, live on the water, live in South Tampa, live in great, neighborhoods. And I'm hearing a lot from people that are living in kind of the urban core or the beaches that were hit by these storms saying things like, I want to move out to the country. I want to move out of the city. I want to move out to the suburbs. So I'm predicting that you're going to see kind of not necessarily people leaving our area, even though we're going to see some of that. But I think you're going to see a lot of people that got hit with these storms that probably have some trauma from it still and are still dealing with some insurance complications. I think you're going to see a move out to the suburbs. I think Tampa Bay suburbs are going to continue to get stronger. And we may see the demand in some of our most prime markets slow down and drop a little bit. Like an example would be, you look at South Tampa, for example. It's always been one of the most desired places to live in Tampa Bay. It's where I've lived for, 15 years. And I love it. But I also think that, part of the reason I love it is, again, shorter commute because where my office is located, it's close to all the places I like to go to. However, as time goes on, you measure and say, is a 15 or 20 or 30-minute commute instead of a 5-minute commute, worth it for me to, not have to deal with the consequences of floods and storms and flood damage and water stuff and all of these things. And I think that the same conclusions I'm coming to, or a lot of conclusions other people are coming to, is that, it's a harder comparison to make now. So I think you are going to see it. I've talked to many friends that live on, in wealthy neighborhoods, and many friends that live in South Tampa in that core. And I think there's going to be a move to the suburbs and to more of our rural areas from some of that crowd. Now, I don't think those real estate markets will struggle much because there's always demand for them, and there'll probably be people that will move right into those places. But I do think you're going to see some turnover from people that have historically said, you know what, I want to live in this area forever, to where these storms have knocked it out of them and said, hey, look, maybe I am going to move into some other areas. So I think that's actually a really good sign for Tampa Bay to continue to expand. I think you'll see, again, some maybe that will promote some more luxury type opportunities out in the suburbs and rural neighborhoods. You look at like an Avila, for example. Will we maybe get something like that in some of these other neighborhoods? Will things pop up? Will Lake Thanota, Assassin, some of the beautiful neighborhoods there become more in demand? I think, again, you're going to see a movement from some of the cities, from the city core, St. Pete, Tampa, Clearwater, that got hit really hard close to the water, move out. Still love the flavor of Tampa, but maybe don't love the flavor of being close to the water and dealing with the consequences of the storms. I think that will actually build up our suburbs and our rural areas a little bit better to continue to grow Tampa Bay. So AI is another thing that I find really intriguing for real estate. A lot of people aren't paying attention to it, but it's really pretty amazing what is happening with AI, from a standpoint of how much it's going to be able to do and how much learning is happening from AI, and the things that it's doing for both consumers and for real estate agents. It is absolutely going to be a technology that revolutionizes real estate in the coming years. So again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. When we aren't on air, please make sure to follow us at The Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, every single social media out there at The Duncan Duo. And if you're thinking about joining a real estate company, if you've thought about making a change, if you've listened to me every Sunday and said, hey, I wonder what it'd be like working at his company, hit up jointheduo.com. Couple different ways that we can work with you. Number one, if you are an individual agent or you run a team and you simply, kind of want to join LPT Realty because you've seen what I've done and you want to learn from me, hit up Join the Duo. I'll be happy to jump on a call with you and talk to you about what LPT Realty is like. If you're a real estate agent and you're struggling and you're like, maybe I need to be on a team, maybe I survived the last few years or I did well on my own and now I'm not, that would be an opportunity where we'd love to talk to you again. Jointheduo.com. Again, that is jointheduo.com. We do a free career night. You'll have a confidential consultation with my director of growth. And we'd love the opportunity to talk to more agents. We are in growth mode this year. We're actually about to triple our advertising budget for 2025 because we want to massively grow and double our business in 2025. So if that's something that you'd like to do, if you'd like to double your production, wouldn't you like to be in an organization that wants to double its production as well? Again, jointheduo.com, register for our free career night, apply for any of our open positions. And again, you can do that at jointheduo.com. So I've always talked like in the early part of the year, about how, kind of the predictions of the market and the things that we expect to see. And I've done a lot of that the last couple of weeks, and I did it in the first couple segments of the radio show. But next I want to talk to home buyers. In the first part of the segment, I talked to home sellers about, hey, look, here's what you need to do if you're selling. You need to be aggressive on price. You need to have the best condition. You're going to be competing with more homes, and prices are softening a little bit. However, I think that's a short-term window. So home buyers, like, now is your time, okay? I don't believe the economic conditions, in lieu of some massive natural disaster, warrant prices dropping for very long. I think we will see prices drop for the next 6 months. So as a home buyer, that means the time for you to take advantage of that is now, because I think they'll rise in the second half of the year. And I think that 26, especially if we see some movement by the Fed, some Trump bump, right? A lot of people are predicting that. Some drop in interest rates, then we'll see even more in 26 is the hope. And if that happens and you didn't buy and you sat on the fence, or you didn't buy more real estate because you could have negotiated a better deal, then you're going to look back and regret it. I know that during periods of time where prices were dropping, even if in a short-term situation, there have been plenty of times in my entire 20-year career where I wish I would have bought more real estate because I knew it would eventually go back up. I think that's essentially what's going to happen. We're going to see prices soften the next few months. There's going to be some great deals that buyers should jump on. Not necessarily investors, unless you're buying them to rent them. Okay. Flipping is going to be challenging this year because of a price drop. You've got to buy it at such an aggressive price because, prices, the chance of you buying it and then selling it for a profit, the margin has to be good enough to withstand several months of depreciation. If that isn't the case, then you can't buy it, because people that are buying homes to resell them are doing it to make a profit. With the market conditions, that's going to be very, very challenging. So the point is that if you're a buyer, you can take advantage of this, pay less attention to the rate, because again, you're not locked into the rate forever. You're locked into the price for a longer period of time. You can refinance the rate. You can maybe do a 2-1 buy down to get your rate short term to a lower number and get the seller to pay for that. But you have negotiating power that you have right now that you've not had in a really long time in Tampa Bay. And if you're a buyer out there and you're looking to buy your home to move into, don't be afraid to make an offer. That's the other thing that I think real estate agents got lazy the last few years and became order takers. That thought they were working at Chick-fil-A, ordering some chicken nuggets. They thought they were getting the waffle fries. They thought that they could just order take their way to home sales. And real estate agents would deter, even though they're not supposed to legally, they would deter people from making offers that were too aggressive because they didn't want to waste their time because they thought that it would never get accepted. There's no doubt I've seen in Facebook groups, okay, not on my team, not people that work at my company, but I've seen in Facebook groups where people are posting, this $500,000 house and the agent wanted to offer $450,000 and I talked him out of it. That's a mistake. Number one, it's an ethical issue, but number two, it's a mistake. Today, make the offer. You'd be surprised at sellers that will be more motivated. You have more negotiating leverage, especially in January and February, because it's historically slower on home sales anyway. You have more negotiating leverage on price and terms than you've had in a long time. And even if you've got a higher interest rate, you may have to gut that out for a year or two. But your equity gain will offset that. If you think like an entrepreneur and think about it from a net worth perspective, buying now makes a ton of sense. Buying over the next few months makes a ton of sense because you'll get that equity when the prices rebound, and you can always refi the rate a year or two down the line when, again, hopefully rates correct and come down some. So Smart money right now is buying. Smart agents are making aggressive offers. Smart buyers are being unafraid to make the offer. If you thought that maybe your offer wouldn't get accepted, make it. What can they say? All they can do, they can counter you or they can say no. Make the offer. And so it might get accepted. You might have a chance and you might get a great deal on a home because now you have negotiating leverage. When the market returns, and it will, look, we know it will return to more of a seller's market. And there's some neighborhoods out there right now that still are. There's not a lot of them, but there's some that are. When it returns to that, it'll be bidding wars, overpriced, frenzies, people overpaying for homes. And if you buy now, you'll get the benefit of that frenzy when it happens over the next few years in your equity. So don't wait to buy and then wait. It's impossible to time the market, but what you can do is the longer you're in the market. You can't time the market, but what does matter is your timing in the market. So hopefully that all makes sense. And I'm going to be back. What I want to cover next, it's kind of interesting because we've covered a lot of stuff during today's show, but the real estate market is ever changing. And I want to talk to home sellers about pricing their home and the strategies that need to be deployed today and kind of the mentality that they need to take. Not just about pricing their home aggressively, because I talked about that, but I want to explain the why behind it and the 20 years of experience I have in seeing the results of what happens depending on the structure and the strategy used in pricing a home. We're going to talk about that after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. And, I've really been talking to my team a lot this week about about pricing our listings. And we're in a challenging real estate market. We've seen prices soften. We've seen inventory rise. And I believe that there are 3 ways to price a home. And each seller has to pick which one, but I want to tell you based on today's market conditions, which one makes the most sense. So there's really 3 ways. You can price it high, above what stuff is selling for in the neighborhood, which I think is a mistake today. You can price it at market, which is kind of what things have been selling for recently, which I also think is a mistake today. And then you can price it aggressive, which is slightly below or dramatically below. And I'm explaining the difference between the two, what is trending and selling and what is closed recently. So have you ever gone to an auction and seen somebody overpay for something dramatically or gone on eBay? I'm a big car guy, so I'll pay attention to like Meekum and Barrett Jackson. And sometimes I'll see cars go for numbers that make absolutely no sense, where it went for way above market value because you pitted 2 people against each other that had the means, that had the money, and really wanted the car. The same thing can happen with real estate, but it can't happen if your price is too high because then people reject it. So in my opinion, in a market where it's challenging and you need to motivate and knock buyers off the fence, the best pricing strategy is to price it below the market. Number one, we know prices are going down. So you insulate and eliminate the fear that the buyer has that they're going to lose value by pricing it below. The second thing you do is you make the market a seller's market for your specific property and you get people to compete for it because they say, oh, wow, this is a $500,000 neighborhood. This one's listed for $450,000. Let me offer on it. Well, guess what? You think they're going to be the only one that offers on it? Probably not, because it's 10% below market. A lot of people are going to chase it. What ends up happening is a greater chance of actually getting the retail value for the home through a bidding war scenario. You price it the $500,000 at $450,000. You get a frenzy of people that chase it. And again, this isn't always the case, okay? However, it's much more likely to get retail value in a quick sale with this scenario in today's market based on today's trends. So you price a $500,000 home at $450,000, you get a bunch of offers and end up selling it for $500,000. Here's what happens if you list it at $500,000. You end up getting maybe $475,000. You get one offer. You don't get a frenzy. Everyone's like, oh, it's pretty regularly priced. You get a low offer. It takes forever to sell. Takes months down the line, and you get one offer for $475,000. Which strategy makes more sense in a market where you've got to knock buyers off the fence? It's clearly the auction style pricing strategy that will get people to chase the home. And then last but not least, pricing it above the market. This is not the market for that. You missed it. It's just not. If you're going to price it above market today, you might as well just not even put it on the market, because here's what's going to happen. Okay. Consumers have never had more vanity. Okay. They use filters. Everybody uses filters on their photos. Every photo I see, I meet the person and I don't even recognize them. So everybody uses these filters. Everybody has this vanity attached to it. It's the same thing with real estate. When they see a home that's been on the market for 60 or 90 days, they're not as interested in it because they think everybody's passed it over. It's not very valuable. You overprice your home, you're eating up the precious days on market that you have to impress a buyer. By the time you finally get to the right price, everybody has discarded your house and thinks something's wrong with it and they don't want it anymore. If you overprice your home and have to lower the price, you're going to lose. Either your home's not going to sell or you're going to sell for less. You have to price aggressively in today's market if you want to sell your home for the most amount of money. It's really a difference in negotiation. In a market where prices were rising, you could price your home high and the market would catch up. In a market where prices are dropping, you can't do that. You price it high, and by the time you correct it, you were what it should have been when it started, but not where it needs to be now. You can't get ahead of the downward trend. If you want to price it aggressive today, you can create that frenzy and sell it fast and get as close to market value as you can. The other strategies just don't work in a market where prices have shown that they're depreciating. And there's a lot of realtors out there unprepared for this that have never been in this kind of market like my team has for over 20 years. We went through the Great Recession. We grew. Some of our fastest growth was during the worst real estate market Florida's ever seen. So the reality is if you're a seller and your strategy is we're going to put it on the market, we're going to lower the price, and we're going to lower the price, you're screwed. You're not selling your house. And by the time you do, every consumer that would have paid and been excited about buying it has gone. And now everybody devalues it and they want to lowball you because it's been on the market forever. If you really want to sell and get the most amount of money, you got to price it below market and negotiate up. Okay? Negotiate up. Create a bidding war. Create a frenzy. Create a plan. If you price it high with the expectation you can negotiate down, it's not going to happen the same. Prices aren't rising and buyers know that. So if they're not rising, they don't want to take a risk. There are people that will overpay for a house or pay higher for a house in a market where prices are rising because they know it's going to catch up. When prices are dropping, they want to insulate themselves. They want to make sure that the home in 6 months or a year is still worth that money. They don't want to lose money. So the only way to sell today, in my opinion, is you price it ahead of the market. You price aggressively and you try and create a frenzy. You try and create a seller's market for your house. That's what our agents are going to coach our clients to do. A lot of the clients aren't going to listen. A lot of those homes aren't going to sell, or they're going to get lowballed, or they're going to end up making less money because they have the wrong number attached with the value of the property. So again, price aggressive. We'd love to help you with that. DuncanDuo.com. If you want an aggressive pricing plan to get a bidding war frenzy for your house, that's us. If you want the best, that's us. If you want the cheapest, that's not us. We're going to give you the best advice, the best results. We're going to get your home sold. We're going to create a strategy that's going to create demand as long as you listen on price. If you don't listen on price, you're basically, that's the number one tool that you have to get your home sold. If you overprice your home, it doesn't matter how much marketing is done on the home, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss the mark. So hopefully that helps make sense in understanding and educating you on what needs to happen to get your home sold today. Again, you can do that at DuncanDuo.com. Again, that's DuncanDuo.com. And I'm done for today. Have an awesome rest of your Sunday, Tampa Bay. Thanks for tuning in.